What's up, everyone? My name is Brian Deitch. I'm a solutions architect with Zscaler. Today, we're going to talk about the Zscaler Digital Experience. Now, before I can actually jump into that, we have to understand the foundation of the Zscaler Cloud and what that really means to you. So if we enter in the Zscaler Cloud, I really call this the Zscaler Trust Exchange. And the reason is simple. You have users that are working from anywhere. They're sending traffic to Zscaler. You might have users in the branch office. But again, traffic is flowing to the Zscaler Cloud. That could be guest Wi-Fi, that could be IoT. Same thing at the data center. You might have users, you might have servers, you might have IoT type of traffic flowing through there. These rows are starting to point to Zscaler, as well as like private applications. The ability to talk with applications 1, 2, and 5, then as well as stuff that's over here in the legacy data center, like applications 1, 2, and 3. Now, based off identity, and if they should have permission to do that, we will be sending traffic, out to your SaaS-based applications, your internal apps, the open internet, etc. Now you might be thinking, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of information probably in these blue lines. You're absolutely right. We can schedule a workshop at any point in time. You guys want to get into the nitty-gritty parts of it, but the idea is to think, or at least to observe here, that all roads kind of point to Zscaler. Now from a troubleshooting standpoint, this is really where the Zscaler Digital Experience flexes its big flat cloud muscle, right? The reason is if you have users kind of working from anywhere and they're complaining about things, it could be very, very difficult to diagnose what the problems is. It could take days, weeks, or even months to come up with it. And sometimes these tickets remain open for a very long time and the problem just kind of fixes itself. So today we're going to look at this and you can say, in the Zscaler world, wouldn't it be cool if we use our little agent to grab at their metrics about the user's endpoint device, as well as like kind of observe the cloud path, like the users going out to Office 365. Wouldn't it be neat if I could see like how strong that Wi-Fi signal is, or if the ISP itself is introducing latency? And of course, it'd be great if I had access and visibility here into the last mile. And then for like your web-based applications, I can get visibility here and here for these internal apps. And for your users in the branch with Zscaler Client Connector, we also get visibility here. So what does that actually look like? Let's pick on myself, Brian Deitch, real quick. And let's say that Brian says that Microsoft Office 365 is slow. So we'll work this from bottom up to kind of get an understanding of what you could see. So you'll log into the Zscaler Cloud Console, you'll type in his username, and then boom, you're presented a graph, and it will become kind of very evident what's actually going on. So you guys can see right here, the user's device has high CPU running on there. The outcome here from a help desk perspective would be like, hey, let's call up Brian. Let's talk to him, figure out why Adobe Updater.exe is like taking up 100% of his CPU, kill that, and then everything is fine. Another use case would be like, hey, Brian, again, is the very next day, he's complaining about Office 365 being slow. You log in there, and it becomes very, very evident exactly what's going on. His Wi-Fi signal was great, and then it just kind of went to the toilet, and it's been kind of not very, very good for a lack of better words. So the outcome there again is the help desk reaches out to Brian and say, hey, Brian, what happened, man? Like did you leave your house? And he's like, you know what? I was actually on the back porch. It was a beautiful spring morning. I was just enjoying a cup of coffee working from here. So the outcome would be like, hey, move closer to your Wi-Fi access point, get better visibility. So another one, it could be, again, Brian's complaining about Office 365, and you can see right here, as we have that clear line of visibility from his user's device out to that application, we can see that the local ISP is injecting a ton of latency, 500 milliseconds, right? And that becomes problematic at the end of the day. So the outcome is simple. Hey, Brian, we were thinking, do you mind coming into the office today, or maybe work from Starbucks? There's something going on with like your Cox Communication internet over there, and we believe that you should try something else. So the outcome there is simple. Brian decides to tether, life is honky-dory, goes right back to work. So then very next day, again, Brian opens up a ticket, says, hey, Microsoft seems to be a little bit slow. And lo and behold, the boy who cried wolf really isn't crying wolf anymore. It turns out via your heat map that you see in the Zscaler Cloud Console that Microsoft really is having a problem. Then furthermore, you can see that it's not like a Zscaler issue or your data center issue, right? This is literally just Microsoft because Salesforce is still fine. See, the outcome there is, hey, thanks, Brian, for letting us know. we're going to go ahead and open up a ticket with Microsoft and then notify the field that this is no longer an issue. One of the coolest parts about this particular issue is that we had actually seen it, by we as in Zscaler and we as in our customer base had identified the outage well before it was even public knowledge. And then on that topic, we had actually seen the same thing with Slack, where we had seen that the user experience was like going through the roof, like from a latency perspective. And then I think this was back in September, you can see that we were able to identify it, open up tickets with Slack, and then a couple hours later, they had admitted to saying, yeah, you know what, this is actually a problem. So the last one that's kind of top of mind happened back in January, and this would be almost like a user's Wi-Fi, or not Wi-Fi, their local ISP having issue. This is when the Verizon had a cut, and then immediately you get to see who is impacted by that. So this is on the U.S. East Coast, and you can see the users that were in the area that were suffering from this, right? So the outcomes are great. You can find meaningful information. You can interact with the users and let them know that, hey, this isn't an us problem. This isn't really a you problem. Verizon did something stupid, and we're waiting for them to resolve it. So the last little bits, and I don't have any more screenshots for you, but would be if you had an application over here that is web-based in the Azure or AWS private cloud, or even applications down over here, you could definitively say that if Brian was asking for application 5, it comes through, it hits the cloud, you can definitively say there's no problem with his end user's device, the Wi-Fi signal is great, ISP is not doing anything, it's passing through the Zscaler cloud. The problem is right here, this application is not responding. So now you have, the outcome is simple. Hey, Brian, you're right, it is down. We'll talk to the application owner of application 5 and ask them what happened. The help desk reaches out to them. They're like, yeah, last night it was a botched upgrade. We're trying to fix things. And again, you go from this meantime to resolution a lot quicker, or at least having an idea of where the actual problem is instead of kind of sitting there spinning your wheels. Historically, if you were to think about this, it's like, okay, to diagnose this problem, you might ask the end user to run a PCAP if you're lucky, right? Most of them don't even know how to do that. You'll have to get them on the phone. You'll have to maybe if the user was in the branch office or data center, you're going to have to align a lot of different business groups to do the testing, to capture it, to review it. And now with the Zscaler Digital Experience, we get you complete, visible, actionable intelligence to move forward rather than sitting there trying to spin your wheels and trying to figure out exactly what is going on. So that, at a very high level, is the Zscaler Digital Experience. If I have piqued your interest, please reach out to your local account team. We'd love to do a deeper dive on this, and I appreciate your time today. You guys have a great one. Thank you.